My name is Carla Harris. I am the founder and retreat host for the Gathering of Women Retreat taking place March 15th through the 17th, 2024. We are about 30 days away from the fabulous retreat taking place at the Pelican Grand Beach Resort on Fort Lauderdale's beach. I am so excited to share that weekend with you fabulous women. And what makes that retreat or this retreat, our retreat, so spectacular is that we get to empower women. We are here standing together as a tribe of sisters, supporting one another, encouraging one another, and hoping to bring out the best in one another. And it doesn't stop with just the women that we work with or the women that are in our sisterhood. We also have to think about the women in our community. And it gives me such joy and pleasure to announce our new partnership with an incredible, amazing organization that helps women in the community. That organization is Spark Her Change. So we want to ignite a spark under all women everywhere. And most importantly, we want to ignite a spark for women who feel forgotten, who feel underserved, who feel left behind. We want to spark and ignite in them the opportunity to dream bigger, to think bigger, to just really understand that there is a power within them. So today on our spotlight, we are able to have a conversation with Kyshana Guzman. She is not only a renowned realtor here in the South Florida market, but she is also the founder and president of Spark Her Change. Spark Her Change is a 501c3 nonprofit that serves all women in need. So without further ado, why don't we bring Kyshana to the show? Hello.
Greetings, Carla. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be having this conversation.
Absolutely. It's so important. I mean, we think about, of course, you and I, sister friends, we think about all the things that we need. Yeah. And sometimes we have to step out of ourselves, right? And think about the community and what the community needs. So I'm super excited to hear more about Spark Her Change, about how we can partner with your organization at the retreat and how women can bring what you need to be a part of this fantastic partnership. So let's just jump right in. So first of all, tell us about Spark Her Change and why you decided to start it and what women you serve in the community.
Absolutely. So God breathed Spark Her Change into my life on a girls' trip, actually. So, sometimes we go on a girls' trip and we forget our toiletries. And it's such a common thing to happen, right? So that's what happened to me in this instance. And I remember just thinking, oh, no big deal. I'm just going to stop by the local pharmacy, and pick up what I need, to replace what I have at home, right? Because I need it for these couple days, right? Mm-hmm. So that's exactly what I did. And I remember as I was walking out, God spoke so clearly to me and was like, you have the opportunity to do this. And yet there's so many women around the world, if you think about it, that don't have this blessing that you have, that you and I may take for granted. And so it was in that moment that I took out my phone, we have a notes pad in our phone, and I wrote down a few things. And he gave me from the vision, the mission, the name, Spark Her Change, what we were going to provide, the bags. And what we do is we provide bags of hope for women in need. And these bags are filled with toiletries so that women can receive an outward refresh. They're filled with Bibles so women can learn about God's love. And they're filled with journals so that women can journal through their healing. And it's something that we love to, and it has grown far beyond what we could ever imagine, but even more importantly, the impact both from organizations like local organizations that we work with, some like Miami-Dade Police Department, their victims advocate unit. What we do for them is we provide these bags, and they provide it to the women that they may pick up in cases of, a homicide where there's someone within the family that has been impacted, or they may pick it up and they may pick up a woman, that has experienced sexual trafficking or something like that, and they may give these bags to them as well. Mm-hmm. And it's such a small token, if you think about it, right? Because it's things that you and I have in our own very own house, right? And in our spaces, but it's such a deep impact when you are in need. Yeah. And as we started to learn more about the women that are in unfortunate situations, as we started to meet some of, survivors that exit, these relationships that they may be in, that they may fall in the hands of individuals that may not honor them or love them the way that they need to be loved. One thing that I learned very quickly alongside the board members and the volunteers, individuals that may just raise their hand or, slide in our DMs on Instagram and then meet us at an event. One thing that we learned very quickly is that these women in need may not look like what you and I think, right? That could be you and I at any given time, right? Some of these women from our very first outing that we started to meet were doctors, lawyers in their country. They came here to the United States of America and they fell into that, relationship where they were dishonored, and it found them in very unfortunate circumstances. So it's such a beautiful thing that happens when we get to, provide a bag to someone, and someone that we may meet and be able to pray with and be able to hear their story. Some of these women we may never get to meet because they're in hiding, they've been rescued from different situations. And it's so impactful. I mean, I remember one time I was part of a handoff of bags, and we had 100 bags that we gave to an organization. And this organization works with the FBI, and it's run by a survivor. And I remember Carla being on the side of the highway, like handing these bags off to her and thinking, these are 100 bags that represent 100 women that have the opportunity to feel empowered, to feel loved, and to get to know God and journal through their healing, So it's such a powerful, deep, and profound impact, that can really change the trajectory of someone and how they're feeling, just by receiving of something good.
So, that is so empowering, not just for the women, but you think about how when you have your volunteers, your board members, what do you believe the impact has been on those who are actually serving?
Such a good question.
The impact on you since you've started this. I mean, just, I can't even imagine people women especially, not being moved by the service that they're providing.
Yeah. So it's incredible because sometimes you're able to see it, right? You see the shift in someone from, the initial walk up to them and how they're like, in a moment, right? Like they may be upset. They may have, slept on the street. They may have been in a situation where, they just fought to get the meal that they got, right? And so you're walking up to them and you're just giving them a gift, right? And you see the change in their demeanor, and the change in how it is that they feel or they look, just because you feel it, right? It's like an energy that they give and you feel that. We've gone to shelters and we've given out bags in shelters. And again, seeing that someone feels thought of, the journal may be something that you and I may take for granted, right? Because we have so many of them around the house, right? But now this woman has a pretty journal that she can actually start to write how she's feeling and the emotions that she's going through, and process some of those things that maybe she doesn't feel safe to speak to people around her with, right? But that's where healing begins, right?
That's right.
And so it's so powerful and impactful to be a part of that. I remember, so usually how we do it is we combine organizations that may reach out to us, churches, connect groups. We connect with them and we basically reach out to them in some way, shape, or form, and we provide the bags for them. And then they provide the toiletries, and and the volunteers. And some organizations have used this as a team building event, if you will, right? And so what happens is we call these packing parties, where you bring all of the toiletries and the bags and everything together, and you're able to sometimes meet people that you've never met before. So we hosted a major one here in South Florida where we packed 1,000 bags together, and that was done right before the last Super Bowl was hosted here. And there, right immediately after, there's different organizations that we were recipients of the bags, but there was one organization that hit the streets and went out to at the same time the Speedway was happening here in South Florida as well. And so they went out and they were able to hand out these bags to different individuals. And I remember hearing the story of one woman that was impacted, and she had received 8 different bags from us on 8 different occasions.
Wow.
It was that one bag, that 8th bag, that caused her to make a shift.
Wow.
It caused her to accept help. It caused her to begin the healing process through being linked to an organization that can help her get off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And every single person that was in the presence of that, and even when the leader of that organization tells the story, it's because of individuals like you and I that say, hey, I want to be a part, raise a hand and say, hey, I want to give back. Hey, I want to pray for you guys. Hey, I want to donate, 2 shampoos, whatever it takes, because it's all of us together that are sparking change. It's all of us coming together that makes the change happen, right? And the Bible talks about that. Iron sharpens iron, right? So it's important for us to be a part of the change. And I'm so grateful to God for the opportunities to witness, like you said, the impact that's so profound. We don't know where that woman is now. And the role for us is just a bridge keeper, right? Mm-hmm. To form that bridge, to be able to bring her, whether it's the motivation from the bag or linking her to an organization that can bring her the actual help that's needed.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to just sort of share this a little bit. So when we let's see if I can do this, how it works. So unfortunately, I can't figure out how to do it. I'm not that tech savvy. But when I think about the logo for the retreat, it is a phoenix rising, right? Because that was inspired to me from the scripture, Beauty for Ashes. And because I know I have risen from the ashes. Mm-hmm. Know that in my life, I have seen what God has done in my life. And that's why this is so important for us to just connect women, because for those of us in the professional space, as you know, we wear a mask, right? And we wear a mask, and sometimes that mask is a mask of survival, and we don't necessarily want others to see how much we've walked through, how many ashes we've risen from.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to it just helps keep us humble. It puts things in perspective. So I'm just so excited that we're having this conversation. So you talked about a couple things. One, I want to ask you about what is the greatest need for what you put in the bags? So you have the Bible, you have the journal, and you have the toiletries. And we've heard, I've heard from shelters that there are certain things that are really, really important when you're providing goods to shelters. What are some of the things that you find most important to include in the bag?
So we include toiletries like deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, nail polish sometimes, or some sort of makeup. And we also do, which is very important, we refrain from giving razors.
Okay, makes sense.
The for the most part, we have a list, and we make sure that we try to stick to that list, whether it's entering different things like loofahs or things like that. But there's the main essentials, right? But something that, again, someone that has access to it may take for granted is pads and tampons.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of the times, some of the women that we serve may be living on the streets, and they go to restrooms to clean themselves, and they may not have the access to get these pads and tampons. So we try to, the soaps and those things they may get a lot easier than those sanitary items. And so the importance of those items is huge for us. And as far as, the donation of those items, we accept and are open to donations from individuals, organizations, as far as like a financial donation, or, believe it or not, even hotels. We've had hotels that have reached out to us and given us the small toiletries that they have, and have donated those. So those are all awesome. And obviously, the smaller that they are, we just put more in a bag.
Sure.
But those are things that we're looking forward to receiving at the actual retreat, when women learn about the need. And we accept, anything from Cash App and Zelle to, actual the actual items. A lot of the times women may go to like their local the Target, or, their local pharmacy to obtain the items. Sometimes we find that depending on what it is that they're purchasing, the dollar may go further if it's donated to us, because we can buy it in bulk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and you and I have had this conversation a few times. You talk about, so I know just from research and my conversations with you that there are certain cities where human trafficking is more prevalent than others. There are, especially those that have big events and things like that. So can you talk a little bit about what that looks like? And I'm sure people are aware that, they're doing this now national campaign around public transportation,
Right.
and how, what to look out for. So
Right.
when you think about big events that come to cities, can you just share a little bit about what that looks like, what your research has told you around the need for organizations like Spark Her Change?
Absolutely. So, first of all, I want to be the first to put it on the record to say that I was absolutely oblivious and ignorant to any of this prior to being faced with it, face to face, right? And seeing it so raw and so open, and understanding the importance that it takes all of us. It takes all of us to be on the lookout, right? But the reality is, Miami, South Florida, has been top 3 for a very long time. And it's wherever we are in the spectrum, right, of the amount of cases that are here, we're a major hub, right? And usually major hub as far as airports are concerned may experience a lot of that. We here in South Florida have, national events, international events. We have festival seasons where we have all kinds of different events that are coming into town. And it may be very popular around certain parts, but people think that it exists in certain communities only. And the reality is that it exists everywhere. It could be your neighbors. It could be the individual that's sitting next to you in a restaurant. It could be the woman that's working out at the gym next to you. It could be someone that, because a lot of the times the mentality around it is like, well, the person can just leave. And sometimes groomers or the individual that's grooming the woman can instill fear into them to allow them not to go. And so the reality is that it exists everywhere, and the importance of us just being aware of that. There's campaigns now that are out with, including hotel and motel owners. You see, I'm sure here in South Florida, you've gone to an airport and you've seen it in the back of, hotel, and in the back of the door, the restroom door. I've seen them in arenas now. I've seen them in the airport, and so it takes all of us and really understanding that, we don't have to be the hero, but we can be aware and share and tell someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's shift a little bit and just talk about the empowerment of women. So why, in your mind, first of all, you are a person who empowers other women at every step. You're encouraging and you really pour into others. So the fact that you founded this organization is no surprise to anybody that knows you, right?
Thank you.
But why do you believe it's important for women to empower one another at whatever level they are?
We really rise through it, and that's period. There's so much that happens when, mindset is so important, right? But it doesn't take much for us to compliments are free, right? To give a compliment to someone, to speak life into them. It takes seconds, for you to, when someone's on your mind, for you to reach out to them and just send an encouraging text, or give a phone call or offer to take someone out for lunch, but that simple gesture can really change someone's week, change how they feel towards a project, change how the output that they're giving towards their day. And I think that, now, especially with the power of social media, it's gotten so more common, because I choose to always see the good in things, right? So even all of the negative talk around social media, I see the positive. I see how, depending on the networks or the channels that you're following, you can get encouraged and your day can change. How you feel towards yourself and how you walk into that meeting can change when you get that text or that call, or when somebody gives you the compliment and they show that they see you, they see the work that you're doing. You do hold value with your seat at the table.
Yeah.
And sometimes, we take those things for granted. It's like you see the dress, you like the dress, but you forget to say, hey, I like your dress, or you look beautiful, or that looks so nice on you, because it's the little things that turn into big things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we really, in short, I believe that we rise through it. And I'm so excited that God implanted this conference into your heart and that you are being obedient and that you said yes to the challenge. And I know that this has been something that has been on your heart for a minute now, but that you choosing to say yes can change so much for so many women. I think about, looking out into the audience, into those 100 women that are going to be there, and the impact that this one weekend of them taking out of their daily lives of wiving, of, mothering, of sistering, what this is going to do for them. It could change their quarter, it could change their month. And I think we sometimes take that self-care for granted. I know during COVID, I myself started to be more intentional about checking in with my own heart, taking 5 minutes after that phone call that was a rough, tough conversation, for you to regroup, going outside and taking a walk. All of those things are self-care. Pulling up to the house even and giving yourself 5 minutes before you go inside. All of those things are so important, and they have the ability to spark change within our day and allow us to even have the bandwidth to think about our dear sister and reach out to her.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I know that you are the founder of Spark Her Change, but I also know that's not all you do. And like the badass woman you are, right? You wear a gazillion hats. So tell us a little bit about what you do professionally, and how people can contact you.
Absolutely, I'd love to. So, what I do in my day position is I provide learning for families and financial freedom through real estate. And so, I'm a realtor in South Florida, and I educate individuals on the power of homeownership. And we sit down and we discuss their goals, and sometimes we've had buyers come to us and say, hey, you know what, in 5 years I want to be here, because we start working backwards, and they share, and we get to grow their portfolios together. They go from renting, I remember we have someone that reached out to us and say, hey, I want an apartment, my lease is up in mine, and I want an apartment, and I want to be able to move, it's nearby in this area. And through sitting down, having a buyer consultation and educating them on their opportunities, and what it is that they could do, they felt empowered to purchase a house, and they got land, and they've bought a business since then, and they've been able to do so much because of home ownership. So that's what we do. That's what I love to do. This is the season that God has had me in, and I'm entering my 9th year, and I couldn't be more excited about doing what we do here.
Yeah, that's incredible. See, I tell you, she pours into everybody no matter what she does, and that's what makes you the beautiful, beautiful person that you are. So I am just so excited and honored to be your friend. So I'm
You're
excited
rubbing
about,
off on me, sister.
and that's what we have to do. We have to influence, encourage, impact one another. I mean, both you and I, in the however long, I mean, gosh, it's been 2 decades or more that we've been friends. And that's what's key, is that, we see each other through whatever those times are, whatever those trials are. We have to be the answer, at least for that moment. And that's really what's important. And I'm grateful that we have opportunities like this to talk. You have 2 kids, I have 1, but we both have daughters, and pouring into them is really important, because we're shaping the next generation, and that's what's really, really important. So as we wrap up, as you think about the women in this retreat, 2 questions, 2 things I want you to answer. One, what do you need most? Because we are going to put a plea out there to bring donations to the retreat weekend. So what would be most important for you to receive? That's my first question. And then my second is, what would you like to leave with the women that you're going to engage with during the retreat weekend? What message would you like to leave them with?
So the first one is support in whichever capacity, right? Whether it's bringing toiletries, bringing, ordering Bibles, bringing journals, volunteering, if they're good with social media, if they're good with, organizing, some people can't do this, but they could do that, so just support in whichever way you're moved to support. And we'll be there present. So we'll be able to have conversations. But that's the number one thing that came to my heart. And the second thing that I want to leave with women is that you have a voice and you have an answer to someone's problem. And so many of the times we think we are not enough. We need more to do this. We need more to start the business. We need more to, have an impact through the opinion or through this plan that has been imparted on our heart. And the reality is that you are enough and you have a voice and you have the power to do what it is that you were called to do, because you were called for such a time as this.
Absolutely. So I know I said that was the last thing, but oops, I got one more. I have a PS. I have a PS. So the PS is, what are your community outreach efforts and what are your plans for, or how can people get involved here at the local level? I know you have events, packing parties. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So two things. We have a form that's a link, and I'll send it to you. Or you can just DM us through Instagram at Spark Her Change, or you can go on sparkherchange.com and you'll find the form, but it's a volunteer form and it asks some information. We have upcoming events like packing parties. We have a couple packing parties on the calendar. Actually, we have 3 on the schedule. We have one that we're doing on International Women's Day. And a couple others. You can also see us, come meet us at the Broward College. There's a fair that's coming up in April, so we'll be there. And we also have another community event that we'll be at as well, but just connect, because we need you. Whether you think I can only give an hour a month, or I can, raise $100 a month, through our friends, or it could just be you, that you have 5 friends that you want to come together and learn how you can be a packing host party and do 25 bags. And so we'll walk you through. We have an email that we send you and we show you how to actually host your own packing party. It's super simple and you can do it on a girls' night at your house. And the exciting thing is that you don't even realize. You may think, oh my gosh, it's that simple, because you get together with your girlfriends once a month. And this is something that you guys can be doing once a month, because we're spending the money anyway, right? So we could be doing it and raising the money within our jobs, within our places of work, within our churches. We have churches that come to us and they get together. They have connect groups that get together and they do packing parties. So definitely reach out. We'd love to serve together.
Sounds like a plan. So I want to thank you. I would be remiss, folks, if I didn't talk about our February special. We're celebrating Galentine's, which, Valentine's is, passe. But now we're celebrating the sisterhood tribe that we have, and it's all month. So we are doing a BOGO special for the retreat for the month of February. You register for one, you get the second person, you get your bestie, your sister, your mom. This would be a great mother-daughter connection for this. And you get the second person at 50% off, and you use code GALPAL, GALPAL, when you register for at least 2 people. So Kyshana, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to close this out for a second and I'll be right back. So thank you all for being here for one of our spotlights. I knew when we decided to do this partnership that it was really, really important for us to do it in a way that impacts the community. So I do look forward to seeing you March 15th through the 17th. Registration is open. We have our Gal Pal or Galentine's promo going on. If you're coming solo, you can use code FLASH10 and that'll get you 10% off of your registration. And we do have space available for you, and Kyshana will be there, and you'll be able to bring your toiletries and donate. She will have an opportunity for you to support financially. But we look forward, and we're going to put all the dates. If you're here local, we're going to put all the dates and the links on our website. On our social media, and make sure that you have everything that you need. Until the next time, I'm Carla Harris, the host of The Gathering of Women. I'm a badass and I'm only human. Women's Retreat taking place March 15th through the 17th. Until next time, have a great day, folks. Bye.